Memory of the stars. Clayton adjusted the straps of his utility pack as the shuttle's landing gears touched down on the alien soil. The planet shimmered beneath two suns, bathing everything in warm amber and violet light. Towering flora, crystalline leaves, and rivers of iridescent liquid stretched across the horizon. He had seen strange landscapes before, but nothing like this. Angora stepped beside him, her deep blue skin gleaming faintly under the sun, tribal markings tracing intricate patterns along her arms and neck. Her pointed ears twitched subtly, as if she could hear the heartbeat of the planet itself. Standing over 2 feet taller than Clayton, her presence was both commanding and mesmerizing. He wasn't subtle in noticing her, and though she caught his gaze, she offered only a small, knowing smile. They had been working together only a few months, yet it felt like a lifetime. Words, glances, and gestures flowed between them seamlessly. Their shared understanding had made their research efficient and surprisingly enjoyable. But the planet they had been sent to study carried a dark secret. Weeks into their assignment, Clayton and Angora noticed the first signs of something wrong. A child forgot the location of their toy. A farmer forgot which fields he had planted. Adults lost track of their own families. The memory loss was slow, insidious, and horrifyingly universal. Clayton's mind raced, drawing comparisons to Alzheimer's disease on Earth. But this wasn't limited to the elderly. It was everyone. Angora leaned over a holographic display, her glowing fingers tracing neural activity. "Clayton," she said, voice calm but tense, "the neural degradation isn't localized, it's accelerating." Clayton nodded grimly. "It's spreading like a virus, but nothing we've seen matches this. We need to find a pattern, and fast." The pair worked tirelessly, analyzing samples and running simulations. Night after night, the two of them remained in the lab, voices and laughter occasionally breaking the tension, a reminder that in the midst of chaos, they were not alone. But then, Angora began hesitating mid-experiment. Her hands froze over the console, her eyes clouded with confusion. "Clayton, why am I doing this?" she whispered. Her voice was quiet, almost afraid, and Clayton's chest tightened. Seeing someone so brilliant and confident reduced to doubt terrified him. By the third week, panic spread among the population. Families struggled to recognize each other. Children cried for parents who could no longer recall their faces. Entire villages fell into fear, unable to trust even those standing beside them. Clayton and Angora doubled their efforts, attempting to trace the cause to the planet's unique resources. "This might be linked to the ambient energy here," Angora suggested, her voice tinged with uncertainty. "Perhaps the flora or soil is producing something affecting the neural pathways." Clayton nodded, his eyes on her. "Then we find it," he said, "whatever it takes." Even so, the memory loss did not discriminate. Angora's recall began to falter, small mistakes at first, then larger omissions. Clayton tried to mask his growing panic, focusing instead on their work. He could see the fear in her eyes when she couldn't remember a procedure, or the momentary confusion when she forgot a conversation they had just shared. It made his mission more urgent than ever. Clayton and Angora's investigation led them to the planet's crystalline forests, where the flora seemed to hum with an energy all its own. They discovered a rare plant, its petals glowing violet under the twin suns, which seemed to interact with the neural pathways of any life form in proximity. Extracting samples was dangerous. The forest itself appeared sentient, vines shifting and curling like protective guardians. One evening, after a long day of collection and analysis, Angora looked at Clayton, her expression clouded with uncertainty. "Clayton, I can't remember why this is important," she admitted. The words hit him like a punch. She was forgetting him, their bond, their shared work. "I'll handle it," he said softly. "I promise." The following days were the most perilous. Clayton ventured alone into the deepest reaches of the violet forest, following clues that might lead to the final ingredient necessary for the cure. The forest seemed alive with energy, every step testing his endurance and courage. Strange creatures with glimmering scales and multiple eyes watched him, curious and cautious. Finally, he discovered a small grove at the planet's equator, where the rare plant thrived in isolation. Its petals glimmered like liquid amethyst, pulsating with a gentle rhythm. Clayton carefully harvested the essential compound, knowing that this was the last step to save the planet, and Angora. Back at the lab, Clayton synthesized the cure, his hands steady despite the anxiety gnawing at him. He administered it to the first test subject, an elder who had forgotten his own children. Slowly, fragments of memory returned, smiles, words, faces. Clayton worked tirelessly, moving through the population as quickly as he could. Finally, Angora approached him. Her gaze was hesitant, uncertain. "Clayton, who are you?" He knelt slightly to meet her eyes. "It's me, Clayton. We saved them, Angora. We saved everyone." Tears filled her eyes as her memories surged back, each recollection more vivid than the last. She remembered the laughter, the experiments, the long nights in the lab, and most importantly, him. You did it," she whispered. "You saved everyone." The planet slowly returned to life. Families reunited, children laughed again, and adults embraced one another, their memories restored. Clayton and Angora stood side by side, watching the twin suns set over violet forests and crystalline rivers. "You were brilliant," Angora said softly, her hand brushing his arm. "But you were also brave and stubborn." Clayton smiled. "I had a good partner." They had faced fear, uncertainty, and the fragility of memory itself. They had endured the chaos, and now the planet's people looked to them not just as scientists, but as heroes. As the stars began to twinkle in the alien sky, Clayton realized that saving the planet was only part of the victory. Saving their memories, and perhaps the love that had grown between them, was the greatest triumph of all.
End of story.